And
Okay.
so, built this new house, we moved in it. I can tell you the very date. First day of March, 1959.
59, huh?
1959, we moved into this big, beautiful home out there, Eastern Hills Country Club. And across the street was a guy that owned a grocery store and had some money. And they had this big old collie dog. He's about, well, it was nearly as big as that Great Dane I had. Big old, and that sucker had hair on him this long, you know. And he'd stay in the house all night, every night. At 6 o'clock every morning, rain or shine, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the front door would open. They wouldn't put him out the back door in the fenced yard. They'd open the front door. That dog would just shoot out that door across that street. He'd back right up to my front doorstep and unload. It looked like 3 cows had been on my doorstep. Well, so you know, after every day for about 2 weeks, it was happening. And I'd go out there, I'd wait a few minutes till they got up and it was daylight. I'd get a scoop, you know, a gravel scoop or corn scoop or something. I'd go around there so he'd watch, and I'd scoop it, take it out here, throw it over in the curb in the street right in front of his house. And at that age and my lifestyle then, I was wishing he'd come out there. I'd have whooped him with that shovel.
Uh-oh.
But he didn't.
Didn't.
So, you know, I'd scoop it, carry it out there, and I'd put it right there on the curb in front of his house. And then I'd take the water hose, I'd wash off my doorsteps and everything. Well, after about 2 weeks, it still happened every morning. So he's mowing the yard out there that morning, or out in the yard doing something. So I just walked across the street there and introduced myself to him. His name was Landers, and they owned the Landers grocery store, a big store in Garland. Mr. Landers, and told him exactly what happened. And back then, I told it like it was.
You told it like it was.
Plain English.
You done a little cussing maybe.
And he said, when I told him, I'm tired of cleaning this up every morning, he said, well, he has to take his shit somewhere. That was his words to me. And when he said that to me, it just kind of didn't sit well. I wanted to so bad, but I didn't say a word. I just turned around, walked back across the street. Didn't say a word. So I went in the house and I sat there for a few minutes and I thought, I'll stop it myself. And I didn't intend to kill the dog. I did not intend to kill the dog.
But you did, huh?
Well, I went out there at the garage. There hung this long extension cord. I reached over and I picked up that Coke bottle, just like that, and picked up that big old screwdriver right there, stuck that screwdriver, went out there, right there at the end of my doorstep, put that screwdriver in the ground. Here's a handle sticking up. I turned that Coke bottle down over the handle of that screwdriver, took out my pocket knife, I split about that far off of that extension cord, wrapped it around that Coke bottle, wrote it in there, plugged it in the... Well, no, that knife when I went to bed, plugged it in, set the alarm, 5:30. 5:30 in the morning I got up, I'm sitting there, looking out the window, right there. I mean, where I could see the step. Straight up 6 o'clock, front door open, here come that old big collie. He came right straight across there and he just turned around and backed up to that thing. And that sucker run on his front feet. Did you ever see a dog run on 2 feet?
Yeah, I had one.
The back feet was up about 6 feet off the ground. About like this. And he's running on them 2 front feet right across that street, and you could have heard him. And about the time that he got about halfway from the curb to the front door, he just fell over. dead. In that guy's front yard. Lights came on everywhere, man, and him and his wife and these two teenage kids he had, they're all out in the front yard. In a few minutes, daylight came. He got in his pickup truck and he backed out here and he backed out onto his front door up in there, and they're all bawling and squalling and hollering and screaming, and he loaded the dog up in the pickup truck and all this, that, and the other. Neighbors all out looking.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Here come the cops.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I better just go out there, and the cop's there so he'll know what took place.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked out there. Looked up there. He was telling the cop, now my dog got out this morning,
Got out.
drove there in their yard, and I don't know what happened. See, he didn't know it. I'd electrocuted the dog. He just knew he came running across the street on his front legs and fell over dead. And this is. So I said, I didn't even speak to the cop. I said, Mr. Landers, you are now use some half words and
Oh.
you know, all this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And cop says, well, now, wait a minute. Y'all need, y'all need to settle this problem. I said, well, I tried to. I walked over and told the man that I was tired of the dog taking crap on my front porch every morning. He told me he had to take it somewhere, but from now on, he ain't going to take it on my step. Cop kind of laughed, says, yeah, I don't think he's going to take it anymore. Well, you know, we lived there for, I guess, the next 5 years or something, and that guy never spoke to me or nothing. So one day I was up in town, up in Garland, and whop, I walked right in, just face to face, just like this, to Mr. Landers. He just looked at me, smiled. I just looked at him, smiled, but walked right on. Of course, and then I moved out here. I didn't live in Garland no more, so I haven't seen him anymore since then. That's been 50 years ago. But that dog, that sucker, and I didn't mean to kill the dog. I just didn't want him to come nowhere in my place anymore. But he ran, his tail end was this high up in the air, and he's running on them 2 front feet. And howling, you could have heard that dog for 4 blocks, I'll guarantee you. Lights all come on. And that old big dog just fell over. Just fell over right in the middle of that dog yard dead. Now I'm gonna go home.